Welcome to Boomer 11 podcast. Here we are to discuss and celebrate the legacy of Virat Kohli, the Test captain. It has come to many as a shocker that Virat Kohli, the Indian Test captain, has stepped down. He has led India in 68 Test matches and he has won India 40. And it is the greatest record to have been held by an Indian captain. It is a tough pill to swallow for many because it came out of nowhere. Now that we are here to discuss on it, let's throw some light on it. Abhishek, what are your first reactions on this news?
First reaction is it came as a shocker. You did not see Virat Kohli stepping, calling quits on his captaincy right after this Test series ended against South Africa. And on the positive side, I felt little glad that it came from his own side. Announcing it on his own instead of BCCI coming up with this formal statement.
Yeah.
Announcing his stepping down as captain. And also we don't know what went behind the scenes. It is always up for discussion about because he was dropped from captaincy from the ODI team, and there was a lot of controversy regarding that. We don't know if that had anything to do with this decision of his, but irrespective of all that, he as you said in the introduction, he is India's most successful Test captain, and he has brought tons of laurels to the Indian Test cricket team. His contribution to the Test team, far outweighs his positives to the negatives. Like him not winning any ICC trophies.
Yeah.
It's all right, but that's just one of the few negatives in his or mostly positive Test captaincy. His not just that, and he's left a lasting mark on the team as well in the likes of Siraj and Shardul Thakur, because you can see clearly how his aggressive mentality has rubbed off in a lot of players, not just those two, and it has turned it into something positive.
Yeah.
And he can leave the Test team. He can leave the captaincy with his head held high.
Yeah.
And the fans are still behind him. Will always still be behind him until his retirement.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he is waiting for his 71st Test 100 more than we are. So it's maybe in hindsight it is good for him. Because this will
Focus on his batting now.
Yeah, he can completely 100% focus on his batting, and he can side by side put some energy into mentoring the next captain as well, like Dhoni did to Virat Kohli, like passing the torch kind of thing.
Yeah, that's exactly my point actually. How big a boost it'll be for someone like KL Rahul, who's supposedly going to take up as the next Indian Test captain. So you will have someone like Virat Kohli playing alongside him, mentoring him, guiding him through the course of this transition phase, which we'll be seeing in Indian cricket. So how big a boost will be that for KL Rahul, Abhishek?
Oh, I'm sure it'll be a massive boost. He can learn so much. Like there is so much experience in Virat Kohli that he can transfer to KL Rahul if KL Rahul ends up being the captain, and not just from Virat Kohli. There are two other captains in the team as well, in the form of Ajinkya Rahane and Rohit Sharma, who have captained the Indian Test side as well. So he should ideally be making the best use out of this, but how that translates to his decision making on the pitch, that is something always up for discussion, and only time will tell how that will translate to. But there is nothing negative to be taken away from this, in my opinion.
When Virat Kohli took over Indian Test team, we were number 7 in the world, and everybody remembers that Adelaide Test match for the first time where he captained. It was when Dhoni was injured and he was absent for that match, where Virat Kohli captained, and India went for chasing 350 odd in the last day. That's when everybody was surprised. That aggressive mentality, going for that win. And most of the captains would have played out for a draw, but he went for the win. But we lost the match. But then he left a mark saying that we did what we wanted to do. And that's something which he continued when he took over 2 matches later in Sydney. From there on, nobody looked back. And he built that fast bowling, culture in India, where India went on to dominate in Australia, won the series for the first time. In England, they are leading. At home, of course, they were unbeatable because they were that force. Even fast bowlers did contribute in India. Let's not forget that. So that's been a biggest legacy, isn't it, of Virat Kohli, the Test captain?
Yeah, just like you mentioned that, the first test when he captained in Adelaide, and he went for the jugular in the last day of the test match, going for like chasing a 350 odd target in the fourth innings in Australia, against Australia. That's something you have never seen an Indian side do it, at least not overseas, outside India. That culture of going for the win when the opposition and everyone else was thinking like they just sit back, play out the day, go on the defensive and draw the match. But again, Virat Kohli, that was Virat Kohli as a captain when he set the tone for the next 7 years of Virat, a test team, an Indian test team captained by Virat Kohli, going like
True.
he never playing. There's this quote from Sir Alex Ferguson that where he says that he never played for a draw in his life, and that kind of uh,
Yeah.
surrounds the aura that Virat Kohli possesses as a test captain, even as a captain in any format of the game, but especially as a test captain, where you on the final fourth day, fifth day of a test match, you are on the final innings and you are chasing up seemingly impossible mammoth total of 350 odd runs, of 300 plus runs, and even the opposition captain is thinking, like, okay, the final, it's the final day. uh, Surely the opposition won't be going out and looking for winning the match, and then there's you get someone like Virat Kohli and his team and going out and playing in a sense that even surprises not only the opposition but even his own supporters,
Yeah.
like the kind of game he plays, and that kind of epitomizes what Virat Kohli has been as a captain, and has been as a person, as a sports person in general. Winning Australia is supposed to be the series down under has always been one of the most toughest series for any cricketing nation, and he was the first Asian captain to go there and win a series there. So some of the stats which I come across of Virat Kohli as a test captain, they have been marvelous. They rank him as one of the top three test captains of all time. His average, he's the only test captain who has 7 double centuries, and he is also like, as you mentioned, he captained for 68 matches and winning 40 of them, which is like which makes him the most successful test captain in India. And there's this, he averages somewhere around 58, 59. Yeah. No, his win percentage as a captain is around 58-59%, which is like only third after Steve Waugh and Ricky Ponting, two of the great test captains that we have seen in this game. And so those kind of stats, can't replicate them, and they are testament to the fact that Virat Kohli as a captain leaves a legacy of being one, if not the best, then one of the best test captains that has ever been, and effectively the best test captain Asia has ever seen.
Yeah.
So that's the legacy of Virat Kohli. And but again, um, records kept aside, he still will be ruining the chance of winning that World Test Championship. When he like India under him was so magnificent all throughout the tournament, all throughout those years where they qualified for the final, and then they in that one-off Test match as a final, they lost to New Zealand. A brilliant New Zealand team, but they lost to them, and that will always kind of be he'll be ruining that fact that he wasn't able to go out there and win the Test championship. That would have been that kind of a swan song. He would have then retired after that, and nobody would have, questioned him or
Yeah, beautifully summed up.
ifs and buts or doubts about him being the greatest captain.
True.
So
Absolutely.
that's the only thing that he will be doing. But as far as numbers are concerned, stats are concerned, he is quite easily in the top 3 Test captains of all time, at least in
Yeah.
the 21st century.
And that's beautifully summed up by Nirmit, because it can't get any better. But now to end the show, I'll just ask this question. Now, we did speak about Pujara, Rahane. Now, Virat Kohli has stepped down from the captaincy, and probably Ishan Sharma is also going to be dropped because of his lack of form. So, Abhishek, is this the end of an era in Indian Test cricket, which saw Indian team dominate Test cricket over the last 7 years across the world in all the countries? We gave it a fight. There was no country, maybe can bar the New Zealand series where India did not stand a chance. But other than that, India went on to dominate Test cricket, and India were in the contest almost in every Test game they played for the last 7 years, isn't it?
That's true. I mean, I wouldn't, I mean, it is, I would call it, and it probably is an end of an era. Yeah, that's true. Because I've said this previously also, with the likes of Pujara and Rahane, they have this, in my opinion, they have this thing called the Kohli privilege. Because they have, despite the underperforming stats in the last 2-3 years, they've still been picked in the first squad. So with him shifting away from the role of the captain, it probably becomes easier to make those decisions to drop those senior players from the team, and make way for the younger generation to come and establish themselves and take Indian cricket ahead, and lay the foundation for the next 5 to 7 years at least. And maybe this is a necessary sacrifice, to that'll hopefully pave the way for better and bigger things to come for Indian cricket in the Test format. And I see this will hopefully this is a sign of better things to come in the future.
As they say, captains will come and go, but the game goes forever.
I just want to kind of like be the devil's advocate here, and just put out something very, very controversial out there. And like as Abhishek said, that Pujara and Rahane kind of have the Kohli quote unquote Kohli privilege. So do you like? I'm putting this question out for everyone, and especially for you two to give your opinion about it. But do you think that the fact that he chose to go with Rahane and Pujara, and then those two players especially kind of let him down in the end, and do you kind of say that those two players are responsible for the that, or kind of like are cost Kohli the Test captainship, those two players, because of the whole the entire year where they have been underperforming, and he kept on trusting them, giving them opportunity after opportunity, and as we mentioned in our previous podcast, that bowlers were bowling kind of winning us the matches, but these two were not performing, and this was the particular series where it all fell down, and that kind of cost Kohli his Test captaincy. Do you think that those two players are responsible for this?
I'll take it. Or
do you want to go first, or I'll go first?
First, see, when we speak about Kohli, the captain, I think knowing his personality, he might have had this in his mind. Might not be just yesterday's result which would have probably put this out. He would have had this in his mind prior to the start of the series, and this is not something, knowing Kohli, that he would have come out with this just because of the reaction to what happened over the last 5 days on Test cricket. But definitely that's a factor. Rahane and Pujara is someone who he backed them to the tilt. We have seen that in the past as well. In the press conference, he's publicly defended them whenever someone has posted a question towards them. Like, how do you reckon they are the match winners? And then he has gone to say they have played crucial knock. If you look at India's middle order at large, which includes also Virat Kohli, that they're just they're averaging below 30 in the last 2 years now. Since the New Zealand season 2020, they're just averaging 25 to 28. That's their cumulative average. So you can say it's been a collective letdown. Pujara and Rahane a big role, and we did discuss in the last podcast also about Mayank Agarwal not stepping up into the series. Now we can also say that there were incidents where Ashwin, who was interested as a number 7 batter, did not deliver when they expected him to do. So yeah, it is a factor. Now, as Abhishek mentioned about an end of an era, that's why I feel now this is an official end of an era, because now you're going to see some new faces, a new leadership group, a new team management in all the formats of the game. We don't know. It might be Rohit Sharma who's taking off Test captain, so it'll be one captain leading India in all formats, and that's a theory which MS Dhoni had proposed years back in 2013, 2011, when he was having that. He was under pressure to be sacked after losing 4-0 in England and 4-0 in Australia.
England, yeah.
There was this question that whether India can have split captaincy, and it was brought down that there should be one captaincy in all formats. Maybe that is what Indian cricket is looking at. Maybe there might have been a clear communication from selectors that we're looking at one captain across all formats, and that's where Indian cricket has been in drama for the last 2 months, because there has been several messages which has been sent out by the selectors, by captain, and from all the sources at large. So it's a confusing conundrum at large, but I hope it is for the best for Indian cricket ultimately, and that's why I was going to say the game must go on. Captains will come and go. I've seen some great captains leave the game, but the game must go on. Abhishek, you can take over.
Abhishek,
like Abel said, it's a collective failure. Like if you look at the averages of all, Pujara and Rahane of the past 3 years, 2-3 years, it's not just that they are underperforming, that it's also Kohli's also been underperforming in that period of time. So, it may have been a contributing factor to the decision that he made today. But, if you ask me, I feel like, that's looking at a drop of water in an otherwise huge ocean over there. So, I just feel that, he made a conscious decision himself. He made a mindful call to step down, and, when the time was right. And he was looking at the Indian team and the future of the Indian team, the bigger picture, basically, when he made this decision. And I hope it's for the best.
Beautifully said. And having said that, we will end our podcast on a good note, on a positive note. We hope whoever is taking off the Test captaincy reins will lead India to that beautiful World Test Championship. Let's not forget, India was number 1 for a very long time. If Test matches counted as an ICC trophy, Virat Kohli will be having 5 or 6 of them. So he has been a great leader of the game. He's been a great captain, a great ambassador of the sport at large. Whatever said, all that. Stay safe, guys. Join us for more of these podcasts. Great to have you all join. Follow us on Instagram, subscribe our YouTube channel, and download our app and play the fantasy sports and win many prizes. Take care. Stay safe.